Womanjika everyone, Womanjika meaning welcome. My name is Auntie Julianne and I'm an out of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and in recognition of doing my welcome to country, I'd like to pay my respects to my elders past, present, future and any elders that were here today, and I would also like to welcome you all here today. The Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung tribe consists of 3 families, the Nevins, the Terricks and the Wandins, and I'm part of the Nevin family. The 3 families all descend from one woman called Annie Barratt, which makes us one big family. Annie Barratt is the youngest sister of William Barratt, a pioneer for Aboriginal people in the 19th century, fighting for equality and land rights. I'm here today to welcome you all to the land of my ancestors. We call the land within our tribal boundaries our country. The Kulin Nation, Kulin meaning man, is made up of 5 groups. They are the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, Boonwurrung, Tanarong, Wathaurong and Dja Dja Wurrung. And to give you an outline of the Wurundjeri country and the area we cover. Wurundjeri country extends from north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw Baw, south to the Moolalic Creek and west to the Werribee River. We cover a diverse range of land from the mountains to the beach and everything in between. Many thousands of years ago, if an Aboriginal person from another tribe wanted to cross our boundary, they would have to sit at the boundary and wait for the Narragadah, which is the headman, or an elder to come past to give permission to cross. Traditional Aboriginal culture was highly territorial, and visitors risked a violent reprisal for crossing a tribal or clan boundary without this permission, and this is how a welcome to country originated in our culture. Traditionally, being welcomed onto country meant you respected Bunjil's law. Bunjil the wedge-tailed eagle is our creator, and Wah the crow is our protector. And as long as you looked after the country, you had access to our waterways and our land resources. And when you enter our country, we ask that you respect our resources, our fauna, flora and water, as they are very special to us. And when you are ready to leave, we ask that you leave it the way you found it.
We have lots of council services that support our community. We support families with children, including health services for children and mums, vaccinations, playgroups, childcare, and kinder. We support young people in our community. Through events and activities, we have services that can support people with disability, older people, and carers and family of people with disability and older people. Our libraries support everyone in our community, help people learn new things, and are free to join. We support our community to have fun and be active through events and activities, sport, and recreation areas. We help look after our places and spaces, the environment, and local businesses. We have laws to keep people safe, to make sure buildings are safe, to make sure roads and footpaths are safe, to make sure our places and spaces are safe. We make sure everyone follows the law to keep our community safe and happy. Moonee Valley. It's a great place to live, work, and visit.
Woman Jika, everyone. Woman Jika meaning welcome. My name is Auntie Julianne, and I'm an elder of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people. And in recognition of doing my welcome to country, I'd like to pay my respects to my elders, past, present, future, and any elders that were here today. And I would also like to welcome you all here today. The Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung tribe consists of 3 families, the Nevins, the Terricks, and the Wandans, and I'm part of the Nevin family. The 3 families all descend from one woman called Annie Barratt, which makes us one big family. Annie Barratt is the youngest sister of William Barratt, a pioneer for Aboriginal people in the 19th century, fighting for equality and land rights. I'm here today to welcome you all to the land of my ancestors. We call the land within our tribal boundaries our country. The Kulin Nation, Kulin meaning man, is made up of 5 groups. They are the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, Boonwurrung, Tanarong, Wathaurong and Dja Dja Wurrung. And to give you an outline of the Wurundjeri country and the area we cover, Wurundjeri country extends from north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw Baw, south to the Morley Creek and west to the Werribee River. We cover a diverse range of land from the mountains to the beach and everything in between. Many thousands of years ago, if an Aboriginal person from another tribe wanted to cross our boundary, They would have to sit at the boundary and wait for the Narragaeta, which is the headman, or an elder to come past to give permission to cross. Traditional Aboriginal culture was highly territorial, and visitors risked a violent reprisal for crossing a tribal or clan boundary without this permission, and this is how a welcome to country originated in our culture. Traditionally, being welcomed onto country meant you respected Bunjil's law. Bunjil, the wedge-tailed eagle, is our creator, and Wah the crow is our protector. And as long as you looked after the country, you had access to our waterways and our land resources. And when you enter our country, we ask that you respect our resources, our fauna, flora and water, as they are very special to us. And when you are ready to leave, we ask that you leave it the way you found it.
We have lots of council services that support our community. We support families with children, including health services for children and mums, vaccinations, playgroups, childcare, and kinder. We support young people in our community. Through events and activities, we have services that can support people with disability, older people, and carers and family of people with disability and older people. Our libraries support everyone in our community, help people learn new things, and are free to join. We support our community to have fun and be active through events and activities, sport, and recreation areas. We help look after our places and spaces, the environment, and local businesses. We have laws to keep people safe, to make sure buildings are safe, to make sure roads and footpaths are safe, to make sure our places and spaces are safe. We make sure everyone follows the law to keep our community safe and happy. Moonee Valley. It's a great place to live, work, and visit.
Could do that again with my microphone on. Welcome everyone to the last council meeting of the year on 9th of December 2025, which I now declare open at 6:32 p.m. I'd like to warmly welcome members of the public who have joined us tonight, as well as those watching online. As well as being live streamed, the video recording of this meeting will also be available on our website, so attendees in the gallery are advised that your presence may be recorded. I also ask that mobile phones be switched to silent during the meeting. A reminder as well to the public in the gallery that as per Governance Rule 75.1, personal video and audio recordings are not allowed. Today, an apology to First Peoples in Victoria was delivered in the Victorian Parliament. This official apology was agreed to as part of Victoria's first statewide treaty. As part of our Council's commitment to reconciliation and treaty, I've been learning how to say our acknowledgement to country in Woiwurrung language. Thank you to Auntie Gail for her patient teaching. Wanganu Nagu Warandri Woiwurrung Guling Naguan Tuan Bik Wimmorop Moonee Valley Dari Wanganganu Gaguk Nanjit Bambuthba Yalambu Nanjit Nagu Nayin Tabuk Gaguk Nanjit Ba Nagwaran Yuongulin Magali Yalambu. We now move to item 2 on the agenda, apologies and leave of absence. I note that Councillor Paula Theocharides is an apology or is not in attendance this evening. Do I have any other apologies? No, the rest of us are all here. I don't have any requests for leave of absence either over the Christmas period. Thank you. We now move to item 3 on the agenda, confirmation of minutes. So, councillors, can I please have a mover and a seconder that the minutes from the council meeting held on Tuesday the 25th of November 2025 be confirmed? Moved Councillor Sypek, seconded Councillor Phil Byrne. Councillor Sypek, would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor Phil Byrne, would you like to speak to the motion? Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? In which case I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. The next item on the agenda is foreshadowing of conflicts of interest. Does any councillor wish to flag a conflict of interest in any item on the agenda this evening? No. And the next item on the agenda is presentations. And councillors, before I ask for any presentations, I would just like to acknowledge that this week we've seen 2 very sad incidents in Moonee Valley, and Council extends our deep condolences to the families and friends of people who have lost their lives, and also to people who've been injured and impacted. We'd like to thank all of the first responders who came so quickly and sensitively dealt with those issues, and to all of the locals who've reached out to traders and others who have been impacted. It's really at times like this that the strength and care of our community is at the fore. I'd now like to ask if anyone else would like to make any presentations. Councillor Cosgrove, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to present on the Moonee Valley event for the International Day of People with a Disability that we had on Saturday the 29th of November at the Flemington Jering Hub. It was a wonderful expo-style day with performances from Eliza Hull and the Leap Into Dance group. And it was very well attended and done in partnership, of course, with our Disability Advisory Committee. So thank you to everyone who was involved.
Thank you, Councillor Cosgrove. Would any other councillor like to make a presentation? Thank you, Councillor Phil Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor. On Friday the 28th of November, I attended, along with yourself, the Incinerator exhibition opening for the summer exhibitions. There's some terrific art on display, and it's well worth people getting down to have a look. Thank you to the amazing artists for all of their work, and of course the amazing gallery staff who put on a really good show at the Incinerator Gallery. Also a timely reminder that the Lozzie Worm is still on display down there, albeit outside, along with the other tactile pieces. So it's terrific to see many people utilising the gallery and utilising that space outside, and the numbers that come to Moonee Valley for those exhibitions. So well done to everyone. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Philburn. Would any other councillor like to make a presentation? Councillor Hamish Jones, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple of things I want to say. Before I get to the Strathmore Rotary Christmas lunch, I'd also like to acknowledge especially the incidents that happened over the last 48 hours, but especially Nidri. Prior to being elected to council, I was actually the president of the Nidri Traders Association, so know many of the businesses along that strip, and obviously still have an office there. I just wanted to acknowledge the work of the first responders, but also traders and residents that rushed to the aid of those that were hurt and injured immediately, and encourage them to reach out to support that I know Council and the Traders Association have put in place, and we'll be coming out to see them over the coming days. Thank you, and I'd also like to acknowledge the Strathmore Rotary Club. I am a member of the Strathmore Rotary Club, but Strathmore Rotary did host its annual Seniors Christmas Lunch on the 3rd of December, and thank you to other councillors, yourself, Mayor, Councillor Byrne, and Councillor Adams, that joined us on that day. It was a great day where we got to serve lunch to 150 local seniors who... It's often the highlight of their calendar, and we see many residents come back year after year. They enjoy their lunch and they enjoy a day out. Thank you to staff from Moonee Valley who also supported many of those residents, enabling them to get there and enjoy their lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. It was a terrific lunch, and thank you for your very thoughtful words about Nidri as well. Would any other councillor like to make a presentation? Councillor Adams.
Thanks, Mayor. On Saturday the 6th of December, we held our annual carols in Queen's Park. Despite the weather, this family-friendly event was a huge success with thousands of our community attending. The event was hosted by the fantastic Bobby Fox and featured performances from Annie Jones, ARIA Award nominated children's entertainers Whistle and Trick, crowd favourites Moonee Valley Brass with the community choir, and a special visit from Santa himself. So that was very exciting for all the kids that attended. There was plenty of food and fun. The event was lively, inclusive and warmly received by all ages. And thank you to everyone for coming along to enjoy the Christmas festivities. It continues to be a highlight of the local holiday season. Merry Christmas, Moonee Valley. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Adams. Would any other councillor like to make a presentation? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thanks, Mayor. On Sunday, Councillor Theocrides and I attended the annual open day for the Keilor Obedience Dog Training Centre at AJ Davies Reserve. It was a fantastic opportunity to experience firsthand the enthusiasm, dedication and strong community spirit of this club. The committee and members, and also the dogs, are justifiably very proud of the club's long-standing contribution to Moonee Valley across many, many years. With over 400 members in the 2025 training year, the club continues to operate as a non-profit, volunteer-run organisation committed to positive, reward-based training methods. Beyond obedience training, the Keilor Obedience Dog Training Centre is also home to one of Victoria's leading flyball teams. Flyball is a fast-paced and exciting sport in which dogs race over 4 jumps, retrieve a ball, and they sort of come off a spring-loaded box and return to the start line in a 4-dog relay. Impressively, the club's Division 1 team, made up of Border Collies and Kelpies, holds the Victorian record, which was something that I learnt on the weekend. Anyway, if you have a dog, or even if you don't have a dog, I strongly recommend going down there on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Samantha Byrne. And speaking of dogs, I would like to make a presentation on the Travancore Dog Park calendar, which features Shadow down in the corner here, but many other wonderful dogs of Travancore Dog Park. And thank you very much to the people who put this together. All of the proceeds from the calendar go to the Lost Dogs Home, and it's available at the Flemington Farmers Market and Travancore Dog Park on select days. A couple of other presentations from myself. I'd like to thank staff who joined me in the walk against family violence. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is an international campaign, and Moonee Valley is proud and committed to walk alongside the many advocates each year to raise awareness and support victim survivors. Participants wear orange and walk together, showing a shared commitment to ending family violence and promoting safety and respect for all. The event's inclusive, accessible, reinforcing that everyone has a role in creating a safer future. I'll also just mention the wonderful event that was held to celebrate the International Day of Volunteering. We held a lovely dinner at Gerring Flemington Hub last Wednesday, and also paid special tribute to the many, many volunteers who've been part of our L to P volunteer program. The volunteers offer their services to supervise people who are learning to drive, so to get through those 120 hours. And I think the calculations are that over the 15 years there have been, I'm going to get the number wrong, but it was something like 15 or 30,000 hours worth of driving. It was a huge number, and many thanks to all of our volunteers and to the partners, TAC, and others who help us to run that program. And finally, I'd just like to remind people that for the third year in a row, Council will be holding our free Christmas Day brunch on Christmas Day. This year it's going to be at the Flemington Gerring Hub, and people can look out for how to register for that on the website or get in touch with councillors. We look forward to seeing anyone who needs to be with others or to have a meal on Christmas Day. We now move to petitions and joint letters. Councillors, do we have any petitions or joint letters this evening? No? In which case we move to public question time. We have one public question for this evening. The question is from Dean Hurlston, who is not joining us this evening. Mr. Hurlston's question is, can Council please advise the total cost of this artwork and playground? And for context, Mr. Hurlston is referring to the playground sculpture displayed at the Incinerator Gallery. And I'm going to read the response to Mr. Hurlston's question. The First Nations Playable Public Art Sculpture Commission was delivered as part of the Playground Project exhibition at the Incinerator Gallery in 2025. Trawlaway artist Edwina Green responded to the themes of childhood, play, togetherness and renewal, while honouring the cultural and environmental significance of the Maribyrnong River to Wurundjeri Woiwurrung First Peoples for over 40,000 years. The cost of the playground sculpture was $29,000 from Council's public art budget and $85,000 through a Commonwealth and Victorian Government Community Recovery Grant in recognition of Moonee Valley community impacted by the 2022 Maribyrnong flood, totalling $114,000. We now move to reports from delegates. Councillors, do we have any reports from delegates tonight? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor. Along with the relevant Economic Development Officer, I recently attended my first meeting as the Moonee Valley delegate on the Western Melbourne Tourism Board. The Western Melbourne Tourism Board is an urban regional tourism group established to strengthen and grow a competitive tourism sector across Melbourne's west. The region encompasses the municipalities of Brimbank, Hobsons Bay, Maribyrnong, Melton, Wyndham and, of course, Moonee Valley. It was a valuable opportunity to discuss support for our local visitor economy businesses and to promote the unique attributes that make Melbourne's West a compelling destination, and to help drive economic growth for our region. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks very much, Councillor Samantha Byrne. Do any other councillors wish to report back? Councillor Phil Byrne.
Thanks very much, Mayor. I attended the Metropolitan Transport Forum on the 3rd of December. Key takeaways from that meeting were a pretty good presentation by the Better Buses for the West campaign, which is run by Friends of the Earth. The key asks of this campaign are better, more direct bus networks, clean EV buses and charging network, and a focus on improving services in Melbourne's West. The Committee for Melbourne and Infrastructure Victoria have also recently aligned with this campaign. And if residents have ever waited over road at the bus exchange, EV buses can't come fast enough. There was also some really good updates from councils as to the various bits of work happening around the place, particularly around new integrated transport strategies, and some good work happening around EV charging, car share. Stonington mentioned their 30-kilometre trial for Chapel Street, as well as near schools and cycle routes as well as expanding their 40-kilometre areas as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Phil Byrne. Do any other councillors wish to report back? In which case we'll move to reports. So the first report is item 9.1, Award of Contract Provision of Curbside Bin and Hard Waste Collection Services, negotiation number 1084. Councillors, the officer's recommendation is shown on the screen. Do I have a motion? Councillor Phil Byrne.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's report with an amendment. The amendment being that Council resolves to, and I'll take paragraph A as read, paragraph B amended to read, approve the implementation of a curbside glass bin service by 1st of July 2027 to comply with the Circular Economy (Waste Reduction and Recycling Act 2021), and note that a future report will be brought to Council in 2026 to endorse the specific glass service model, and paragraphs C and D as they appear on screen as read. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Phil Byrne, and thank you, Governance, for making that adjustment. Is there a seconder? Councillor Cosgrove. Councillor Phil Byrne, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just speak generally, then I'll talk to the amendment a little bit. Obviously, the removal of waste in our cities is a pretty important service. It's probably one of the foundations of civilisation, to be honest. And this contract is to engage the services of a suitably qualified contractor for the provision of the curbside bin and hard waste, including green waste bundled branches, collection services for residential and commercial properties. The contract is for 7 years, commencing on the 1st of July 2026, for an estimated maximum contract value of $826,282 million. Sorry, long day. The provision of curbside waste collection services will also include the regular scheduled collection of waste from landfill, recycling and food, organic garden, organic bins, and the collection of hard waste and bundled branches for eligible residential and commercial properties and tenements. This contract also consolidates the curbside bin collection services and curbside hard and green waste collections into the one contract for some savings as well. So the officer's recommendation is supported with a small change to note that a future report will be brought to Council in 2026 to endorse the specific glass service model, which will consider collection frequency, bin size, and those sorts of operational matters. The contractor will also be responsible for the operation of the call centre, collection of waste from curbside bins from all eligible properties, the supply and delivery of approximately 50,000 curbside mobile glass recycling bins when this is ready, community education services, and the transportation of all recyclable materials and non-recyclable materials to the respective facilities. Importantly, the contract introduces new technology to identify households with high contamination in their recycling and FOGO bins, and this will enable the contract and council staff to directly work with residents with the aim of reducing contamination. Unfortunately, the awarding of the contract comes at a time where electrification and alternative fuel options are not quite yet available at cost and scale for rollout, and this could be very different in 7 years' time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Filburn. Councillor Cosgriff, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to add my support to the officer's recommendation with the amendment Councillor Filburn has put forward. I think, like most, my first response was some sort of eye-watering when I read the sum of the cost of waste, but like my colleague said, this is what we do. Well, it's one of the foundational things of what we do and what's so important to keeping our city moving. And it's easy to forget about because it's done so well. So one of the facts that we complete this contract will allow for approximately 4.3 million bin lifts per annum is what happens around Moonee Valley. It is over 7 years, and that amount is the maximum. So we're really awarding the schedule of rates which we've been provided with and which I've went through thoroughly, and I thank officers for coming back with further information. And we really, I did hope that there was a way we could get some greener fuel options or something, but that's just not commercially viable at this time. But I appreciate officers' commitment to continue considering that over the 7 years of the contract. So I commend the motion. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Cosgriff. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Sypek.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, as a councillor, we get a lot of complaints, parking, all sorts of other stuff. But I have to admit, rubbish collection or dump rubbish is probably one of the least amount of calls that I get. So I just want to thank our officers for doing such a great job, because it sort of takes a bit of pressure off me when residents call about their rubbish bin. And I think a lot of our residents have actually now learnt to, if they've forgotten to take their bin out, they actually just ring up and say, look, I forgot to take it out, and we will come and collect it. There is no problems. There is absolutely no problems if you forget, because we all forget. I mean, I've done it. I've rung them up and said, sorry guys, I forgot to get it. And we have a little truck that comes along and just picks it up for you. So the only concern that I have here, is I live in a house and I'm going to have 4 bins now. And there's a lot of dual occupancies going up around me, and I think there's not enough nature strip for 4 bins now. So I think it's going to be, a bit of sort of manoeuvring around on the nature strips. Maybe we'll have to use the driveways. I'm not too sure how this works out, but I'm sure we will figure out a way to collect the glass. And secondly, I'm happy to support this motion, but I still just have, a little bit of doubt in the background about how it's going to happen, because we're going to get we're going to get extra bins, and I'm not too sure where some people in smaller, accommodation, where they're going to put it, and maybe they might share it with their neighbour. I don't know. It might be, could be an option. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sypek. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Samantha Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor. I would recommend people try to remember to put their bins out because it does make it easier, obviously, if you remember, set that alarm, put it out the night before, whatever you can to make it easier and make the system flow. In saying that, it obviously is, as touched on previously, an extraordinary, huge amount of money, and it is a reminder about how much waste is produced in our municipality over a number of years. Obviously something that we always try to work to reduce. But I did want to just make note of the amendment. In terms of the fourth bin, I feel like that the rule, I suppose that when the state government advised councils back in 2020, I believe it was, to say that the fourth bin was coming in. So much has changed since then, but it doesn't appear as though the state government's thinking in regards to the fourth bin necessarily has. We do have the container deposit scheme now, and I think there has been a push from other councils that perhaps that could be used instead of the fourth bin. This council hasn't necessarily joined the big group of councils that are aligned in sort of suggesting that as a better option, but it'll be interesting to see what this report comes back with in regards to the glass service model. I will, just last meeting, we had the financial report for the year to date ending September come to us, which told us how much financial stress our ratepayers were in, and how much it was increasing, and how many of our ratepayers have the increase of ratepayers that have had to apply for payment arrangements. And obviously by putting in an extra bin is an extra cost that we are passing on. So there's a lot of things to consider. I'm looking forward to the report, and I thank you for putting that in the amendment. And we'll see how it all plays out in the time coming forward. But yes, the waste needs to be dealt with by councils. It's never easy, but hopefully Cleanaway do a good job. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Samantha Byrne. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. Like has been mentioned by a couple of my councillor colleagues, 97,826,282 million does sound like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. It is a 7-year contract, and waste isn't cheap, but it is something we have to do, and it is something we have to make sure we have a contract in place on the 1st of July 2027, so people's bins keep getting collected. I hear every day that councils should focus on roads, rate and rubbish, and if we're not collecting the rubbish, we're doing something wrong. And I do like the fact that the report shows to better recycling outcomes through better compliance, less cross-contamination, all of those sorts of things. I think there's a lot of smarter technology coming with this new contract, and I think that's something to look forward to. However, I am also thankful to Councillor Phil Byrne for introducing this amendment, and acknowledge that we will be receiving a report early in the new year. I share similar concerns to my colleagues Councillor Samantha Byrne and Councillor Sypek in terms of the purple bin and the cost shifting from the state government again onto ratepayers who are already facing higher burdens and higher bills. Another bin means another unavoidable cost that will be shifted onto ratepayers through higher rate charges. I think that environmental reform can't be solely funded through ratepayer pressure, and we need to look at alternative options, whether that's the container deposit scheme or other alternative service delivery models. And I look forward to seeing what the report has to say about that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Adams.
Thanks, Mayor. I will support this motion, but I also wanted to give a shout out to residents to look out for in their mailbox very soon this information pack about your at-home guide for waste and recycling Moonee Valley. It's got some really great booklets. There's a waste and recycling handbook which talks about our general waste and hard waste, as well as what goes in your FOGO bin and what doesn't. There's also this really handy A to Z waste and recycling guide, which basically has some common items that you can look up and read the key as to what actually happens with those items, whether they go in general rubbish, in recycling, FOGO, or the transfer station, or some tips on donations, which is really cool. And there's also an area map with everyone's, location and deciding on, which days your bins have to go out. So it's a very, very handy information pack for our residents to have a read of. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Councillor John Barnes.
Thanks, Mayor. I was a Garbo for 5 years, and I know exactly where the costs are and how they get to where they get to. And let me tell you, there's some rubbish out there, and it will never stop, and it will keep coming, and it will keep going up in value. And if I could see the future, I'd probably dig a big hole in the ground and sell the dirt to make money, and you'd make money to put the rubbish back in the hole. So hindsight's a beautiful thing, but I'll be voting for it too, because it's inevitable. We need it, and it's something that the person who picks up my bin in my street, he's like clockwork. He's a minute either way of about 8 o'clock, and he's fantastic. He doesn't miss. So I love this guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Barnes. With every councillor having spoken, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour?
Sorry, Mayor, there's a couple of points about costs that I wouldn't mind a reply to.
Look, I didn't necessarily think there was any dissent in those comments. I might just confer with governance for a moment. Yeah, Councillor Filburn, I had thought that there wasn't necessarily any dissent or opposition in that commentary. Apologies for not explaining that thinking before putting it to the vote. I'll put that motion to the vote. Thank you. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. The next item is 9.2, variation of contract number 203287 for the provision and supply of delivered meals. Councillors, the officer's recommendation is shown on the screen. Do I have a motion? Councillor Adams.
I'll move the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
And a seconder? Councillor Jones. Councillor Adams, would you like to speak to the motion?
I will, thanks, Mayor. This motion is to approve a variation of the contract that we have with Chef's Kitchen Australia that supplies our community meals service. The meals are prepared by Chef's Kitchen and delivered to a distribution hub where they are assembled and delivered to clients by our council staff. This supply started with us in May 2023 when we supplied approximately 17,000 delivered meals annually. Since then, the demand has increased to where we predict we will be supplying up to 52,500 meals per year. And the huge demand is a real testament to the popularity of this service due to the excellent quality and variety of nutritious and affordable meals. Council currently delivers approximately 800 meals per week to 280 residents, and some of the feedback from our residents who responded to a survey in October 2025 are, and I quote, "The meals and service is awesome, pleasant people delivering food. I enjoy the visits on Wednesday as I have few visitors, and also they check on your health and welfare." Councillors, including myself, have had the opportunity and absolute pleasure of accompanying our council staff on their delivery runs, and so I know firsthand how appreciative our residents are for this service. Vulnerable residents across our municipality are supported to remain living independently in their homes, and this variation will allow us to accommodate for the increase in demand from existing and new clients. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Councillor Jones, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, I think that this is obviously it's incredibly important that we continue to support our older and vulnerable residents, and I think it's great that we can help to remain them to remain living independently for longer. A significant growth demand is a good thing, and I think it reflects the quality of the food. And I know I've personally had feedback from neighbours that are recipients of delivered meals, and they are very happy with the quality of food. And I think it's great to see that we are able to fulfil this community need, and I'm happy to support the variation of the contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Sypek.
Thank you, Mayor. I too support this motion. Over the years, I've delivered many meals to residents, and a lot of the time, it's all good and they're happy and they've got family around them. But then there's those few that have no contact with another human being except for a meal's delivery, and it's that human contact that's an extra service that we provide for free because we deliver the meal. I've seen it firsthand. I've actually sat down with some residents, and I spent nearly over an hour and a half and just listening to their story, listening to their life story, and they just want to talk to someone. So I think this is great. Fully supported.
Thank you, Councillor Sypek. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? I definitely didn't hear any dissent or opposition in that debate, so I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. The next report is item 9.3, extension of contract number 113005, Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. Councillors, the officer's recommendation is shown on the screen. Do I have a motion? Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation.
And do I have a seconder? Councillor Sypek. Thank you. Councillor Jones, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, Mayor, I will speak just briefly, and I'll try not to get too technical as I do talk through the officer's recommendation. I spend too much of my day already looking at different Microsoft licenses and what they mean and what the inclusions are. But essentially, as a council, we have limited choices in who we can use for service providers. It's essentially a duopoly of Microsoft or Google, and it's also a limited number of service providers we can actually go through as well. The Microsoft E5 licensing provides a number of security benefits to council in terms of cyber protection. Obviously, we're living in a world where cyber attacks are happening every day, whether it's to business or especially levels of government. It's important that we have the highest level of security we can, whilst also minimising the costs that we need to spend, and by having the higher level of Microsoft licences, I think that provides the best of both worlds. And I'm happy to support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Sypek, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I totally agree with Councillor Jones about there's not much of a choice here except for Google and Microsoft and a few others. So it's a necessary evil that we have to have. Not that it's evil, but it's just a terminology. I too agree with Councillor Jones that this will provide a far better security safety systems for us, because we do have a lot of sensitive data, and I think that's most paramount for a council to protect.
Thank you, Councillor Sypek. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? In which case I'll put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. The next report is item 9.4, People and Safety Report, Q1 2025-26. Councillors, the officer's recommendation is shown on the screen. Do I have a motion? Councillor Adams?
I move the officer's recommendation, please, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Phil Byrne, thank you. Councillor Adams, would you like to speak to the motion?
I will, thanks Mayor. This motion receives and notes Council's quarterly people and safety report for the period the 1st of July 2025 to the 30th of September 2025. It provides Council with an update on work, health and safety at Council, trends and insights during the period and over the 12 months, and actions underway to improve the control environment so we can reduce the likelihood of work, health and safety risks. The report has also been presented to the recent Audit and Risk Committee held on the 1st of December for informed oversight. The work, health and safety has improved over the years at Council, and most recently through this work significantly strengthened, and I thank the CEO and executive team for their work in this space. The Audit and Risk Committee independent members were suitably impressed with our proactiveness ahead of the new occupational health and safety regulations that have been made and commenced on the 1st of December 2025. The occupational health and safety regulations place stronger governance requirements on employers to understand and manage psychosocial risks and hazards, and Council has been building the foundations of this work through hazard mapping work, which the work health and safety team has been piloting over the last 6 months. The work health and safety team has reviewed the code to assess current compliance with OH&S regulations, identify recommendations and prioritise implementation steps. The strategy and plan 2025 to 26 provides a structured approach to meeting those requirements, obligations, managing risk and driving continuous improvement in safety outcomes. And whilst there are improvements to be made, Council remains fully compliant with all applicable workplace and safety legislation and is committed to providing a physically and psychologically safe workplace. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Councillor Philburn, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mayor. Not a lot to add from Councillor Adams, but just to draw out some of the points in the report around that continued reduction in lost time injury frequency rate and the halving of lost time injuries and the reduction in the work cover injury frequency rate, essentially halving year on year. All of that's really good. But you know, if you're injured at work, it's a significant impact on your life. So it's important that Council keep building and striving for a better work culture, work safety culture. Keep having the conversations about work health and safety. Keep reporting the hazards, reporting the near misses as well. And I note that the reporting of near misses and hazards has also increased in the report, and it's fair to also note from the report the changing requirements and the increased focus on psychosocial safety as well. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Philburn. Would any other councillor like to speak to the item? In which case, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And that brings us to the last report tonight, which is 9.5, Adoption of the 2026 Council Meeting and Public Forum Schedule. Councillors, the officer's recommendation is shown on the screen. Do I have a motion? Councillor Sypick.
Happy to move the officer's recommendation, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sypick. Is there a seconder? Councillor Samantha Byrne. Councillor Sypick, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is just the adoption of the dates of when we're going to have our council meetings and public forums so the community can be informed. You will see it on our website. You'll see it on our... will it be on our Facebook page, Governance? Okay, yeah, so on our Facebook page there'll be all the dates there as well. And of course I think all the councillors will probably share it on their socials as well, so that way we can capture as many people. And let's start filling the gallery up, Mayor, because I miss the people in the gallery. I miss the sort of, you know, the bit of banter in there, and I think it's, you know, needs to get a bit more lively in here. What do you reckon, Mayor?
Have you finished, Councillor Sypick?
Thank you very much, Councillor Southwick. Councillor Samantha Byrne, would you like to speak to the motion?
Be careful what you wish for, Councillor Sypek, is all I'm going to say with that one. So we do love having the public in, of course, but yes. Anyway, as Councillor Sypek said, it's setting our dates, but it is a good reminder that we do have public forums that get held every month on a Tuesday. So if you do want to come and speak to council, it is a really, really good opportunity and probably a very underutilised opportunity, which hopefully over the next 12 months can grow, because I think that it is something that is important that our community knows that they can come in and ask questions of council. So the next one of the public forums is on the 17th of February. So you've got plenty of time to prepare, and I'd love to see everyone's, well, not everyone's face, as Councillor Sypek may have said, but some people's faces in, to have a bit of a chat. And obviously we have the normal council meetings as well that we're in now, which are monthly as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Samantha Byrne. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Jones, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, I will, of course, be supporting the officer's recommendation, but like my colleagues, I would like to encourage those that are watching at home or joining us in the gallery to engage further with us next year, whether it's through the public forums on the third Tuesday of the month, starting in February, or taking advantage of public question time, petitions and joint letters during our monthly council meeting as well. We love engaging with the community. We'd love to see more of them here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? No, in which case I'll put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillors, item 10 on the agenda is notices of motion. We have none listed on tonight's agenda, so we move to item 11, which is urgent business. Councillors, do we have any urgent business? No, in which case we move to item 12, which is confidential items. We have no confidential items listed on the agenda this evening. So that concludes the business on tonight's agenda and for our year of council meetings. As this is our last meeting for the year, I'd like to express my gratitude to the community, well, our gratitude really as a council to the community, gratitude to councillors and to council officers for their dedication throughout 2025. We wish you all a safe and happy festive season and Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you in 2026, whether in the gallery or online. So I'd now like to declare this meeting closed at 7:20. Thank you and good night.